And we're here now for one more game. It's about to start, and if you have a look at the centre, you will get an idea that this is a rather unusual exhibition. There are two different kind of sticks on the pitch, and that's lacrosse with the ball caught in a net, and there are hurley sticks out there as well. So we haven't seen this before in Croke Park, but it's very, very interesting, and we will explain it as we go along. But I'm sure the main thing at the moment is just to watch it and enjoy it first of all, and the way that the ball has been thrown about. And then we'll go into the rules and explain the different games and how it merges together. And I'm saying all that, but actually it's not me who's going to be doing all that. It's Mark Colgan who's going to explain that, and he's with me, or hopefully.
I'll do my best anyway.
You'll do your best. Excuse me. But this is the last game of the day, and it's a very interesting one. Will it be?
No.
Now, they can play on behind the goals, or can they? No, they can't. The ball's out. The ball's
in lacrosse you can, but I don't think in this version.
Well, Mark, first of all, explain your background. Where are you in all of this?
Well, I grew up a GAA man. St Jude's is still my GAA club in Dublin. But when I got to UCD, I took up lacrosse and have been playing that ever since. So since 2006 now I've been playing.
UCD?
Yeah.
How was it there?
Well, it was just starting when I started up there. I think it was in its second year, but it grew, and we became quite a competitive team. We had a 5 or 6 team league, depending, for a few years there, and UCD would have been in the upper reaches of that, usually first or second.
And then you followed it through, and you stayed with the game.
Yeah, there were a couple of clubs. Here's a goal.
Yeah. First goal of the game. A lacrosse goal, if I can call it that, certainly scored by a lacrosse player. So on this pitch here, you haven't seen this before. This is emerging. So you've basically got hurlers here and lacrosse players, and the differences are obviously the stick and the helmet. Yeah,
the lacrosse helmet would be a bit more similar maybe to an ice hockey helmet. But the big difference is the stick, the head on the stick, and also the padding that they wear. So lacrosse players would tend to wear, well, they have to wear gloves, they have to wear a helmet, but most would tend to wear elbow pads and shoulder pads and a cup as well. Whereas in hurling,
why would that be?
Just safety. It's because it was modernized in North America, where a lot of those sports would have that kind of padding, like the American football.
One of the things that's immediately noticeable is how effortless they make it to catch the ball in the net. And it looks like a small net at the end of their stick, but they seem to just pluck it and catch it in the net very easily.
It takes quite a bit of practice. It becomes second nature. It's something that is the first few weeks of training, particularly when new players come in, is based all around just throwing and catching and getting used to the stick in your hand. So they're making it look easier than it would be in general. But there's quite a steep learning curve at the beginning, but after 3 or 4 weeks it becomes second nature.
Oh, great catch.
Very good.
What ball are they using? What kind of ball is it?
I'm not sure if they're using the sliotar, or I presume they're using a sliotar as opposed to a lacrosse ball.
I'm not sure. It doesn't look like a sliotar. Now it's far away, but it doesn't seem to be a sliotar.
It doesn't move like it, just
unless
judging
it's a
from
small
that.
size 4 one or something.
I saw when you were coming in there that there were sliotars about, so I presumed.
Well, what do they use in
They use
lacrosse?
a hard rubber ball, slightly smaller than a regulation size sliotar.
Here they come again. Now, I don't have names of players for this, but the game is maybe more important at this point. But are these lacrosse players from America against hurlers from Ireland?
No, these are lacrosse players from Ireland against hurlers from Germany, which is great. It's really in the spirit of the whole event that's happening. So I'm not too familiar with the hurling team, to be honest, but from what I've heard, it was a German student over here on Erasmus who fell in love with the sport and brought it back to Germany. And it's grown, and they've been able to bring a team over here for this. There are 2 or 3 American-born Irish residents on the lacrosse team, but in general, most of the players out there are Irish.
It's interesting. I mean, it really is interesting to watch. It's fascinating, and it's also fascinating to watch the two games are merging here.
Yeah, no,
maybe the players are holding back a little bit. They're not going like full tilt, but you can tell that they're respecting each other's games, and the skills are, I think they're transferable, and they're working, and they're merging together, and it's quite an interesting spectacle.
There's a lot of overlap I found making the transition from hurling to lacrosse, particularly with regard to just space off the ball. Players tend to know where to be to receive a pass and creating space for each other.
I hear a lot of people in America talking a lot when I'm out there about lacrosse. And yet I have never seen lacrosse being played. It's not a mainstream sport.
It's not, no. It's one of the fastest growing sports in the United States. And in Canada they have an indoor version. Well, they play field lacrosse as well, but they specialise in box lacrosse, which is indoor lacrosse. We have both of those leagues running in Ireland. And I believe there's quite a strong lacrosse league in Germany, so I think some of these players may be familiar with lacrosse and maybe using it to influence their hurling, whereas players in Ireland would use their hurling to influence their lacrosse.
Yeah, there's a lot of similarities.
Yeah.
I mean, the way the stick is helmets, and the way they pass the ball to each other, the ball travels very quickly.
It is. There's a constant debate as to which is the fastest field sport in the world. You have people on the other side of the Atlantic claiming lacrosse, and you have people in Ireland claiming hurling. So
where do you stand in this one as a man from St Jude's who got into lacrosse?
I take the very diplomatic response of saying that I believe the ball travels faster in hurling, but I think in general players would sprint more often and more quickly in lacrosse.
That is diplomatic.
Yeah.
There might be a few men down in Kilkenny and Wexford and Tipperary and these places in Limerick that might disagree with you on the speed of the hurlers. So.
If they would like, they are more than welcome. We're always looking for new members to join lacrosse so they can try it, and I'm happy to be proven wrong.
And do you still play it in Dublin?
I play lacrosse in Dublin, yeah. I've spent the last season injured. I injured my shoulder, so I haven't been able to get back yet, but I'm hoping now next month to return to once the season gets underway.
When you see it up close, not the game as such, but the stick, there's a sub on the line here just in front of us, and I'm seeing his net now at the end of his stick, and it's actually a lot bigger than I thought it was out
that's
on the
field.
goalie
stick?
Oh, that's the goalie one. Similar to the hurling where the boss is bigger,
but the difference between a player's boss and a goalie's boss in hurling would be a lot less than between a field player and a goalie in lacrosse. It'd be roughly similar enough size. Now the shape is obviously very different, but the net would be similar to the boss of a hurley.
And is that for saving or hitting the ball out that it's bigger?
For saving.
Right, because I can't imagine it would make the ball travel faster. Whereas in hurling, the bigger boss can send it, you can hit it further, so it's slightly different.
Now goalies have their goalies' gear is designed for saving first and foremost. Now, in a big difference is the size of the goal. In lacrosse, it's 6 foot by 6 foot. Obviously, we're using slightly reduced hurling goals for this.
Yeah, well, we're using the posts that were here for all of the games all day, as opposed to, but they really should be half that size. There's another goal goes in for the Ireland lacrosse team against the European hurling team to make it 2 goals to 2 points. But so the goals would be basically half that.
Yeah, roughly, yeah.
Oh, lovely catch. I really like the way they do that. I saw in America a couple of years ago someone in close vicinity to me, and I think like a leisure centre playing lacrosse and just hitting the ball to each other, and I actually feared for my life a little bit because the way they hit the ball to each other, I thought, oh my God, the speed that ball travels from that net to the other net is unreal, and the ball looked more dangerous than a sliotar.
It's heavier than the sliotar. As throughout my life I've been hit multiple times with both, and they hurt roughly equally. But it's slightly heavier, and there is the added danger with that.
Yes, keep going.
But the way that it works, the way that you generally would throw the ball means that the angle you can get on it, it's gonna impact the body less. Whereas with hurling, you're swinging from roughly your hip. In lacrosse, usually, now there are sidearm shots, but usually the ball would be traveling from over your shoulder. So the momentum would carry it either up or down, and it would lose some of its impact from that.
We'll continue with this education lesson for the second half, but for the break, I want to break off and go to some of the action that we had during the week at the World Games in Waterford. We have a few music pieces that were put together during the week by some of the people who were doing the video work there, and they just captured the atmosphere and the spirit, which is tremendous. So let's just have a look at those now.
Oh, brilliant.
Leave those highlights because it looks like we're going to start the second half, or rather Tracy Rivera is going to start the second half. She is the referee all the way from San Diego, and she has a bit of experience of this game. She's seen it, I think it was in Los Angeles area, so they experimented with it there, and it has now ended up in Croke Park. And she is the lady in the middle, officiating in this historic experiment between hurling and lacrosse. And it is the start of the second half, and it's 2 goals for Ireland lacrosse and the European hurling team 2 points. And it's a German team mainly, and we interviewed the German hurling team earlier in the week, a lot of students and German people, and they were very, very enthusiastic about their hurling. They absolutely love it, and they were a breath of fresh air at the World Games in Waterford.
It's great to see it expanding.
Fresh air, to be honest. Yeah. Well, obviously you like to see the lacrosse game expanding as well alongside it, but this is a great occasion to showcase it.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, hurling was always my first love. Now I'd be more involved with the lacrosse as an adult, but it's great to see both of them thriving and expanding.
So hurling at St Jude's when you were younger?
Yeah, hurling and Gaelic football at St Jude's.
You seem to quite like the self-punishment thing where you get hit by the balls a lot. I mean, it's at some stage you not go, I don't want this anymore.
Well, I also play badminton, so I get my
there you go.
I get my fill of safety from that.
Yeah, the shuttlecock isn't quite as dangerous.
No.
That was an interesting one there. There was a block for a stick there, or rather was the lacrosse stick on the hurl.
Yeah, think if it comes to a clash of the ash versus versus the aluminium, there will only be one winner. But
and what do you think of this generally, this experiment here in Croke Park today of this game? What do you make of the actual game so far, the way that it's emerging?
I think it's great. I think both sets of players, as you said, are showing quite a lot of respect for each other's games. It's been played in a very good spirit. We're getting to see, which is what you want from an exhibition game, we're getting to see the best of the skills involved in both sets of sports.
I wonder, in the likes of America, if the GAA merges, shall we say, with lacrosse and gets a better relationship with lacrosse, might more lacrosse players be attracted into GAA?
I wouldn't see why not. As I
if
said,
you were a lacrosse player in America and you became aware of hurling, you would think, oh, hold on, well, I play with a stick and a helmet, I could do that.
Yeah, the skills are quite transferable. What we have seen with the toughest trade is baseball players. There's been a sharp uptake in baseball players taking up hurling.
Really?
And apparently, yeah, in the upper east coast of America anyway. So I don't see why not. There seems to be enthusiasm there. As we know, people from America love their sports, so I'm sure they'd be keen to try anything. That's
so
a lovely bit of skill.
Connecticut direction?
Fantastic.
The hurlers have got a goal.
Lovely bit of skill to step inside as well.
Yeah, and the crowd enjoyed it behind us here, and they're shouting, do it again, do it again. So that brings it back to 2-1 to 1-2. There's only 2 points in it, so we have a game on. Not that the score is going to be the important thing today, but still, it makes it a bit exciting. And
we'd like to keep a competitive enough edge to it.
Exactly. 6 minutes to go, and the
game
is up for grabs.
It's an important ball in.
These high balls are interesting. I mean, one goes up with a net, the other goes up with a stick. And of course, the other big difference is the hurlers like to go up with one hand to catch it, and the lacrosse players are not trying to catch the ball with their hand.
No,
they wouldn't do that.
That's illegal in lacrosse, to touch the ball with your hand.
So it would be strange for lacrosse players to sort of come across that as well.
Yeah.
That hold on. Did he just steal the ball out of a stick
did.
with a stick? That was hilarious.
Lovely little hook there.
He hooked the ball out of the net. That was funny. It's certainly entertaining.
Very much so, yeah. The hurlers have come out with a bit more purpose second half.
They have.
They're
well,
pushing a little bit harder. They're winning the 50-50.
You want to win. You're playing in Croke Park. You want to win.
Absolutely. It's a great opportunity for all these players out there.
Oh, that was a bit unfair. He just came on as a rolling sub there, and the poor lacrosse player didn't know. They're trying to hook with a lacrosse stick. Is it called a lacrosse stick?
It is, yeah.
Have you ventured to America to play the game? Have you played it out there?
And not competitively, no. I've been to America visiting friends that I've made through lacrosse, and we've kind of played pickup games, but not. Some of the players out here now would have during the summer. Oh, we're in again. Oh, big stop by the keeper there, but he's in. There's another goal.
You have to admire the skill that the lacrosse players have, the way they can actually just flick the ball around almost effortlessly in that net, which to me seems like something that would be very difficult to do. I know you were saying that you just learn it because you're playing it for a long time, but it is quite a
it's quite a it looks it's great for from a spectator point of view. It's a very good spectator sport, and it's quite a skillful game, but you do pick it up surprisingly quickly.
I believe you.
There's a big ball up.
Yeah, so it must be unusual for the lacrosse players to see the hurlers put their hands up to catch the ball. And of course they're wearing big gloves as well.
Yes, they're mandatory on a lacrosse pitch.
Oh, did he let that
in? I think he just kept it out.
Yeah, he looked rather cool
a close
about
one.
it. I
think he just wanted us to think that.
Yeah. See the clash there again. The clash of the aluminium doesn't sound as cool as the clash of the ash. Nice skill, lovely skill as well. Ball to hand. can
Very
be
well played,
used,
yeah.
whereas lacrosse don't use that, so they're probably a little bit bemused about some of that. Do they tend to hold their positions more? I mean, if you can hit the ball in the same way at such speed. I mean, in hurling now, for example, you know, like 30 years ago, a cornerback would have been cornerback, but now it's not so much. But in lacrosse, do you hold your positions more?
Yeah, there's offside rules involved in lacrosse. You have to keep 4 players in your own half, including the goalie, and 3 players in the opposition half at all times. So usually that means, because it's 10-a-side, there's the goalie, the 3 defenders, and then 3 midfielders can roam up and down the field, and then there's 3 attackmen who stay in the opposition's half of the pitch, predominantly.
Do you think that's something hurling could look into? Would it work?
I would be very. Here's another goal now. I'd be very hesitant to see it, to be honest. I love watching the players burst out. I think there'd be one thing that I think would be great for hurling to adopt from lacrosse is having multiple refs. There's 2 refs in lacrosse, and they keep an eye on each keep an eye on one side of the field, and each keep an eye on one half. And it's great having that extra. Particularly because the lacrosse pitch is a bit smaller, like a hurling pitch, the poor ref can be very exposed at times, as we've unfortunately seen.
All right, well,
this year.
How would that work in hurling? I mean, how do they work it in lacrosse? Who makes the call? Who blows the whistle? Who makes the decisions?
Whoever is half of the field.
There's a goal for the hurlers.
Very good.
Good goal indeed.
That's one big benefit to hurling, being able to just strike it along the ground, and you don't really get that in lacrosse.
Pulling it.
I think, whoever's side of the field it's on makes the decision, but a lot of it's just about communication, you know. I mean, the hurling referees are used to communicating with the umpires and the linesmen, so having an extra body there as help would be, I can only really see the benefit to it.
Okay. We have just over a minute left, I think. And it looks like the Ireland lacrosse team are going to be victorious, but here come the hurlers, and that's going to drop short.
Good take by the keeper. Confidently done. Okay,
so there's a rule there as well. How long can you have the ball in the net?
Oh, you can have it for as long as your opposition lets you.
So none of this 4-second rule?
No,
stuff?
But
are you allowed to pull the jersey like that?
No.
Just checking.
No,
there's a goal.
I think that should be the clincher now.
Goal, yeah.
99% of the time you'll have both hands on the stick, so it wouldn't be pulling wouldn't be a major infraction in lacrosse.
Oh, of course, you have those big gloves on.
Yeah.
Now. And there is the full-time whistle from Tracy Rivera to signal the end of a historic experiment in Croke Park between lacrosse and hurling. And overall, I'd sort of say it was a bit of a success, but Mark Colgan, I'd defer to you on this one.
Oh, I'd say it's very much a success, yeah. I think it's been a great showcase for both sports, and there are differences, but more importantly, the similarities. I think everyone seemed to enjoy it. Everyone got to play out in this historic stadium, which is fantastic as well. It's a great opportunity. I think it's been very much a success.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that's a good note to finish on, Mark. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
That's the end of our Facebook live stream. We've done 9 of them today. That's the last one, and we've ended on a high, and as you said, it was successful, and you can't ask for more than that. So we hope everyone else enjoyed it, and we'll leave it there. From Croke Park, it's goodbye.